How's it going, everybody? TPLA student Garen Toso here, bringing you a formula primer video. Just going over the basics of Form 1 shii-cho. Just go over a little bit of knowledge real quick. Shii-cho is also known as the determination form, and the entire form is based around the number 3. So 3 steps, 3 stances, 3 parries, 3 guards, 3 strikes, just based around the number 3. With one exception being the stances. There are technically 4 stances, but the first one, your ready stance, is just like a universal transitioning stance. You'll only be in it to move to either like front or kneeling or to perform one of the steps. So real quick, I'm going to go over the stances. So first off, ready stance. Whatever your zone 6 foot is, your rear foot, move that into like a 45 to like 90 degree, about a 45 to 90 degree angle. And when you move your lead foot or your zone 5 foot forward, make sure your toes are pointed forward, your hips are squared, and your weight's in the center, but your heels are on the same line. Your heels want to match up. So just step out at the angle, make sure your foot's straight, and ready stance. Using the shadow as my guiding line, so ready stance. Going into do back or horse stance in other martial arts. Feet a little more than shoulder width apart. Your knees should be facing the same direction as your toes, and your back should be angled the way your lower legs are angled. So do it from the side. So kind of leaning forward a little bit. Your back should be straight with your lower legs, and again, knees pointing with the same way your toes are pointed, and hips square. So, staying in this position, going from do back rider into front. Your knees positioned over your ankle, whether you're leaning forward more or so, whatever is more comfortable to you. I have longer legs, so a longer stance is kind of easier for me, if that's even correct. But so you have your front stance, throw it from the side. This is technically defense because I'm right-handed. So when I have my zone 6 leg forward, that'd be defense. Attack is here. Same thing with ready stance. Attack position, defense as far as your ready stance is concerned. And then into kneeling. So from do back, I'll go into the front. Also, in these stances, you want to make sure your knees are bent and reflective. You don't want to be tense up and tight. You always want to be relaxed and be able to move around, bend and flex. And then into kneeling. Into kneeling, your knee is not on the ground, it's right above it. It should be close, but not touching. And then back in the do back, and then into kneeling. Those are your stances. To move in to the guards, I'll just stay in ready. So here, you have your middle guard. It's pretty much a go-to for any student or anybody doing sword play. Your tip of your blade is towards your opponent, and the blade is held in front of you so you can practice those shifting parries or blocking for zone 6 and zone 5 if you need to. Low guard, it's a less intimidating guard, used to more trick and draw in your opponent, thinking that you've literally and figuratively dropped your guard. And then moving into high guard, your elbow should be away from your head, and blade held in the same position as middle guard, just above your head. And when you have a face mask on for matches, your elbows will instinctively go away from the helmet anyway. So there are your guards. Going into parries, there are 3 main types of parries: receiving, shifting, and drop. So there's also six zones you are guarding. So there you have zone 1 being your head, zone 2, which for me is my right arm, so zone 2 is your weapon arm, zone 3 is your non-weapon arm, zone 4 is your body, zone 5 is your weapon leg, zone 6 is your non-weapon leg. So with receiving parries, those are your zone 1 parries. Those are when you're receiving a blow like this, or a high honor sash, or whatever you will. But these are designed to block zone 1. Your shifting parries are designed to block zones 2, 3, and 4. To include your drop parries to block your zone 2 and zone 3. Then you have the parries for zones 6 and zones 5. I believe those are also shifting parries, but I believe I read that they're also considered turning parries because you're literally turning the blade over itself. To go into the strikes, you have shii-cho, shem, and shiak. Which shem and shiak are categorized as the same strike, but with the little differences. I'll just cover those right now. So shem is a quick, sharp tap that is just meant to use to wound and wear down your opponent, not so much as stop the fight. So the difference between a shem and a shiak is the motion is coming from, for a shem, is coming from the hilt, to where a shiak, the motion is coming from the tip. So a shem, step forward, and it's just a quick tap. To where a shiak is your thrusting their blade through zone 4, through the body. So then for a sai, you bring the blade down, bring it into a halo orbit as you step forward, and bring the blade all the way through, like you're going to slash right through zone 4. A sai is a powerful chopping strike that travels in a large arc. So as you bring the blade around, you're extending out and bringing it down. A cho is a faster, less powerful chopping strike that travels a shorter distance. So from here, you bring it in, do that halo orbit, and as you bring it down, you bring it over the leg you're stepping with. And it doesn't matter which side you go with, the drop parry always goes toward that zone, bring it around, and step down. Those are your strikes for shii-cho. Then so I covered parries, guards, stances. Now for steps. So the 3 steps you have are your 3-phase, your full step, and your hut slide. So starting with your 3-phase, start from your ready position, bring your feet together, pause, and then step forward, going back into the same position you were when you started. Also the 3-phase step at the end of it. So I'll go forward and then go back. You can also add a hut slide into there, which with a hut slide, all it is you're pushing off with your zone 6, picking zone 5 up just enough to slide it across the ground. So a hut slide. To go back is the same thing. You're just picking that rear leg up just enough to move you across the ground. So then to move forward and backwards with the 3-phase, with no hut slide, move forward, together, pause, and then step. And then to go back, it's the same thing. Together, step. Together, step. Until you're back in the same position you started in. And the full step is the exact same thing without the pause. You're just tracing the C. So you step up, stop. Step up, and stop. Then to go back, it's the same thing. Just trace that C. And those are your steps. And then to covered zones, parries, guards, steps, strikes. Also, marks of contact. You have a few marks of contact in shii-cho that kind of just break up and kind of symbolize where you're striking. So, Muay Thai. Muay Thai is a mark that you're separating multiple limbs at once. So an example of that would be Obi-Wan cutting off Anakin's legs and arm on Mustafar. Side talk is when you are severing zone 4 in half. You're cutting here, top half slides one way, bottom half slides the other. Side talk. Side cha, you're separating zone 1 from zone 4. So a side cha would be you're cutting the head off the snake. You have cho mak, which is kind of the same as Muay Thai, except with cho mak, you're severing a limb that is not holding a weapon. So then you have cho sun, which severs the weapon arm from zone 4, and you have cho mai. Cho mai severs the weapon hand. Oh, well, for me, it's over here. So, cho mai severs the weapon hand.
Oh.
So, I believe that's everything as far as covering the formula primer. Again, as last time, if I have left anything out or need to cover anything better, please let me know. So, and again, as always, everybody, stay safe, stay healthy, stay hydrated, practice patience, perseverance. You guys have a great day.